Alright everyone, welcome to Full Speed Impulse, and today we are doing a review on the good old chin mount for your GoPro, and we're going to go over the pros and the cons and what we kind of like about it and what we don't like about it. First things first, I do believe it is one of the best mounts for your GoPro when you are riding a dirt bike. Alright, so the first thing we like about the GoPro chin mount is obviously the angle of it. So here it is right here. This is the chin mount. You can see it, and actually you can see that this is just really a 3D print, and if you guys don't know much about that, we'll talk about it a little bit more, but this is what it came with. It came with this, and it already had the adhesive on the back, and here's the con. Like, I don't feel like it's very securely mounted. It did last a 41-mile trip that you guys will be seeing on our YouTube here pretty soon. What's not reassuring is that it came with, it's not reassuring, but it was also nice too that it came with a little support bracket here, as far as just a little safety mount, which is reach back here. Pretty much this guy right here loops through here, and it'll go through your little mount here for your GoPro, just in case if this were to fall off, it'll save it from falling off and maybe you not noticing while you're riding. So that was kind of nice that came with that. But this one here, just these two things here, was about 40 bucks, and that's pretty rich in my opinion for what this mount is. If you guys don't know, 3D printing and all that, it's pretty much I mean, it's a simple process, to be honest. You could buy these machines off of Amazon for 250 bucks. Obviously, they put a little bit more work because they got to find a design for each of your helmets and all that and what works. But if you go on there, there's actually already a few designs where you could just click load and put it right to your 3D printer and it'll print it out. And I'll show you an example, is that we have this mount right here made from a buddy of ours that has a 3D printer, and this was just a quick, he didn't even see the helmet we were doing, he just printed one off real quick. But this is the mount that he came out with, and so the only thing we would truly have to do is, he said we could heat this up as much as we want and flex it, but we'd form it to our helmet just like that, and that's a good GoPro mount. And we'd put the 3M right here, and in my opinion, that's already a better mounting system. And that's us not even trying or breaking into it. I'm not like saying that we're going to get into it or anything like that, as making mounts, but this right here is probably about $1. Give you a good mindset. Material cost, I mean, it's not like you're standing there or anything like that. You put the program in, you walk away. So you're about $1 if you already own the machine. So if you don't own the machine, you're buying a machine, which is going to be about 250 bucks. Material, another 20-ish bucks or so. And then past that, maybe just a little bit of, learning curve, stuff like that. Say it's 300 bucks. I mean, but by that point, you can make a lot more of these things. So if you have multiple helmets, $40 a pop could add up real quick. And when I go into the reviews and all that, because I wanted to know what other people felt about these things, is that some of them said it held on and stuck really well, and other people said it didn't. So this one thankfully stuck on really good. Like I said, 41-mile trip we did up in Michigan. We just did. We are still editing the video. Guys, a little bit clip from our 41-mile trip showing you guys just the angle and all that and why I do think this is the best mount. So here's that footage right there. Alright, so as you guys can see, that is a pretty awesome angle, and what I like about that angle the most is that how it's centered. So you get to see a lot of bar movement in the video footage. You get to see the guy, whether he's working the clutch, the gas, you see me getting on the pipe, all that good stuff. You get a lot of good footage. What we used to do on our bike is that we had a LED bar right here, and I'd set the GoPro right on top here, which is great footage because more centered to your body and all that you get, the more realistic and speed you're going to get in the video footage. You'll realize the higher up you go, it really takes away from the speed of what you're actually traveling on the bike, which is hard sometimes to grab concept of speed, and definitely how tall hills are our biggest struggles when we do any videos. So we always did the light up here, but the problem is you never got a lot of interaction as far as like how I was moving with the bike or with the bars or anything like that. You always just seen the riders up in front of you. So that was kind of like, that was our best option at the time. So our next option was, we have a mount right here on top of our helmets. About every helmet you're going to see has a GoPro mount on top. But the problem is, like I said, especially with pit biking and all that, it's really robbing you of seeing how fast we're going on these bikes. And it really discourages me as far as having this up here and we're doing all this heavy duty ripping and you guys just aren't getting the full effect, which is no bueno for us. So we want you guys to get the full effect. We want you guys to feel like you are there with us. So that's why we don't prefer the top of the mount. Haven't experimented with a side mount yet, but again, you're off kilter on a bike, which in my opinion would be no bueno. So the other option you have is like a chest mount system, but like you probably, you're thinking the same thing. It's like, I don't want to put this chest mount on, strap it down, have to get it tight. Is it too loose? Is it going to be bobbling back and forth, bouncing and all that? It's like, yeah, I didn't want to mess with that either. So that's why I still believe this chin mount is still the best design, and I think they know that too, and that's why they're charging so steep for it. So that's why if you're only doing one helmet, $40, no big deal. And here's another big thing too. What I was personally concerned about with the chin mount is that, you know what, guys, it is what it is. I'm a little bit of a heavy breather. You know what? I take some deep breaths, and I was kind of worried that I'd be wearing this helmet, and all you guys would be hearing me doing it is, huffing and puffing the whole time as I'm ripping the bike. And not saying I'm out of breath on the bike, but I've been doing normal videos before with you guys, and then I go to edit it, I'm like, geez, man, just take a freaking breath already. But, you know what? We did our editing our video, or most of it, and thankfully I have not heard myself, huffing and puffing yet inside the helmet. And some people, I pointed the GoPro down, by the way, so you have obviously position it upward or downward, and we definitely did downward. Some people were saying about like restricting your airflow through here and all that, and I don't know about all that noise, but we did put it down just because we wanted a lower effect. And I was, again, super happy. It's nice being able to swivel and all that with your head and get the movement. Like I said, you got good bar movement. So that was another, good thing about really. And really the only downside on this mount here is that I wish it had a little bit more area that it mounted on the helmet, so I knew it was a little bit more secure. It seems to be decent, but I could still flex it, which not the best, but that's why we put this mount on here. Another thing is price. So one thing I will not recommend from Chin Mount is their ultimate GoPro package. So when you're checking out, you're going to be offered this kit that says Ultimate GoPro Package, and it had a bunch of little things in there. I'm like, oh sweet, that's exactly what I needed. I need a couple more clips and all that stuff. I always like stocking up on this stuff because I don't know when I'm having my buddies and all that wear their GoPros for our videos, I might need an extra one. And I thought, and they didn't specify, but I thought, oh, maybe it's got a side GoPro mount on there so I can experiment with that. Doesn't really have that on there. And the other thing they don't have for being an ultimate GoPro mounting system is no adhesive. Which, come on, like, you're gonna say it's an ultimate GoPro mounting, kit. You better put some adhesive on the bottom of this thing, so I'm ready to go. So that was pretty disappointing. And obviously, as soon as I seen there's no adhesive, we weren't able to use them just because I didn't want to mess with them. I'll be honest, I do have a bunch of adhesive, laying in my bag and all that to stick on the bottom of these, but that's not the point. The point is, you might not have it. So, yeah. And this was 20 bucks. I think there might have been a couple more pieces maybe, but this was 20 bucks. Like, get real. And the other thing too is that one thing I'll always like that's great about the GoPro mounts that I love, like these obviously, see how it doesn't have the rubber? While this here is the GoPro mount that's obviously dirty from our trip, has that rubber piece in there, so when you lock it in, and you know the deal, but you lock it in, you can push it down, it's fully firm. No way is this piece gonna rattle out, or it's gonna, if you get in a nasty wreck, or is it gonna pop out? It gives it that a little bit more reassurance, hoping that, probably you're not gonna lose your GoPro that day. So that's about it for today's video on the old chin mount. As you can tell, pretty much, I like the chin mount. It is the best view. Just wish they were a little bit more affordable there, guys. But other than that, they're great. Got that 41-mile pit bike trip we are editing up right now, which will be out soon. It was a sweet, fun trip and all that. We did them on the KLX 140s. A little bit bigger of a pit bike, but it was still fun. But other than that, guys, I mean, that's it for today's video, and we'll see you later.